Well, for those who are joining us, this is the story of the day. In fact, two blasts have been reported at the Chennai Central Railway Station. The blast occurred on the Bangalore-Guwahati Express. The coaches that were ripped because of these blasts was the S4 and the S5. At present, the reports say that one person has been killed, a woman, and 10 have been injured because of this blast. The bombs are suspected to have been placed under the seat of the passengers. The government has in fact announced 1 lakh ex gratia for the victim who has died in this particular explosion and rupees 25,000 as compensation for the injured. However, the Chennai Central Railway Station has become a fortress of sorts with a lot of security personnel at the blast site. They have cordoned off the area and are investigating with forensics, and the dog squad has also been pressed into action. High-level police officials have been taking charge of the investigation and the security at the Central Railway Station. The explosion reportedly took place at around 7:30 a.m. and around 2 explosions took place at the coaches of S4 and S5. The explosions ripped apart the coaches, and the coaches have been badly damaged because of it. The nature of the blast is not known yet. The injured have been taken to the Rajiv Gandhi Government Hospital.
लेकिन पुलिस की टीमें इस पे जांच कर रही हैं।
होम मिनिस्ट्री से भी बातचीत चल रही है सर?
हमारे लोकल लेवल पे और सभी लेवल पे वार्तालाप जारी है। किस तरह की इसमें ब्लास्ट है, इसमें वो जांच कर रहे हैं।
Sir, please tell us about complete information about this incident, sir.
Today morning at 7:05 a.m., Bangalore-Guwahati Express rolled into Chennai Central Station, and 10 minutes after that there was a blast in 2 coaches, S4 and S5. Presumably happened when the below the berth something was kept which blew up. This resulted in death of 1 lady passenger, grievous injuries to 2 other passengers, and simple injuries to 7 passengers who have been already moved to the hospital. The Honorable Minister of Railways has announced an ex gratia payment of rupees 1 lakh to the dead, 25,000 to the grievous injuries, and 5,000 to the simple injuries persons. The normal operations are very much on as far as rail operations are concerned in Chennai Station, and platform number 9 has been cordoned off, and investigations are on as regards the cause of the blast and for finding out more clues about the incident. Incidentally, the suburban operations are normal because slightly different place it happens, and normal working of train operations is at the moment very much on at Chennai Station. This train will also leave after we detach these 2 coaches and conduct necessary investigations and get police clearance in the episode.
Sir, is there any information come out from the blast site? Which type of blast bomb is used in this?
It's too early because it just happened just 2 hours ago, and these details will be now known very shortly as to what was the material used in the blast. But the police teams are doing a detailed check at the site.
That was Arunendra Kumar, the chairman of the Railway Board. In fact, Chennai is the headquarters of the Southern Railways, a very important site. At that, it is a 141-year-old station that has become the center for the railway links in the southern part of the country. And this particular train was on the 9th platform. There are totally around 14 platforms at Chennai Central. The nature of the blast is yet not known. The kind of bomb that is used was also yet not known. But the investigations are being carried out by the forensic department of the police, and also some of the agencies would also be roped in to figure out what exactly happened. The injured have been taken to the nearby Rajiv Gandhi Government Hospital for treatment. Unfortunately, 1 woman was killed in the blast. The government has in fact announced an ex gratia of 1 lakh rupees. The injured will be given 25,000 as compensation. The area has been completely cordoned off by security personnel. The police have in fact cordoned out the particular platform number 9, and the sniffer dogs and dog squads are in fact being pushed into service. There have been speculations with regards to whether it could be the handiwork of the ISI, as because recently the Tamil Nadu police had arrested a 37-year-old Sri Lankan national who has been suspected of being an ISI operative in Chennai and sees photographs of very vital installations and counterfeit currency from him. According to the sources, the police, they say that Sakir Hussain was suspected to be operating on the instructions of an ISI agent based in Colombo. For more, I'm joined by my colleague Akshita. Akshita, you have a profile of the woman who in fact died in this particular explosion.
Right, Varghese. As of now, a preliminary report stating that this particular woman who was killed was 22 years old and she was traveling with her family, and it is understood that she was traveling from Bangalore. So, of course, that will have to be verified whether she was in fact from the city or not. But what we do understand is that she was about 22 years old, so a very young woman, in fact, passing away there. We understand that she was seated in that sleeper coach right in the seat where the bomb was placed, which is why she was killed, in fact. And we also understand that she was traveling with her family. Some of her family members have been injured, but all of them out of danger is what we understand. So very unfortunate that someone as young as 22-year-old woman passed away in this particular incident. We are awaiting more information on who she was, her identity, and whether in fact she was a Bengalurian. But we understand that she and her family were traveling from Bangalore, and in fact they weren't getting down at Chennai. This was, of course, in the junction between the S4 and S5 coaches. So it was between that, in the sleeper coaches, that this particular blast took place. Both the blasts, in fact, were placed very close to each other. Both the bombs were placed very close to each other. But that is pretty much all the information we do have on that one woman who has been killed. She was a 22-year-old woman. In fact, initially, a report stated that she was 40 years old, but the latest suggesting that she is 22. She was traveling with her family, and of course that also she was traveling from Bangalore. So we need to ascertain whether she was from the city, whether she was a Bengalurian or not. But of course, for all those out there, for all those who had their relatives on this particular train, they have put up helpline numbers to contact. You can call in on 04425357398, and the railway officials have promised that they can give all information that's necessary. Besides that, this particular train, Varghese, will be leaving the station in another 1 hour or so. In fact, officials are now trying to detach the S4 and S5 coaches and let the train move on so it can go ahead and drop the rest of its passengers off. These two coaches, of course, will be kept separate so investigations can be completed. Besides that, all the proceedings, train services in the particular railway station have not been stopped. Everything is still continuing as per schedule. Only platform number 9 has been closed down, and we could see that go on for another couple of hours at least, because investigations are still very much on. The personnel there are ensuring that nobody enters the particular cordoned off area. They've termed it as sensitive, and heightened security present there in Chennai Central to ensure that everything goes on smoothly. All the chaos has been controlled as of now. Injured are in Government General Hospital. So of course it looks like they have everything under control, but a lot of questions yet to be answered with regards to exactly what took place, Varghese, and that of course only post a lot more detailed investigations will we find out. Also, as you mentioned, that angle of an ISI operative's agent being involved cannot be ruled out, but it's too early to in fact to go ahead and point fingers at this point, considering that the investigations are not yet complete. They will have to find out exactly what took place, how it happened, was it meant to go off in Chennai Central or elsewhere. That is something they will have to look into. Also keeping in mind that this particular train was expected to be in the Andhra border rather than Tamil Nadu by about 7:15 That's another angle they will probe into, whether in fact it was meant to go off in Andhra, keeping in mind the tension that's simmering in that area, and considering that the elections are on. That's another crucial aspect to look into, Agis. So they have quite a lot of angles to look into here, and of course post detailed investigations, hopefully we will get more details on exactly who was responsible. They haven't ruled out the terror angle either, but as you can see, there are several helplines being put up for people to go ahead and call in for all those who had their relatives on board this particular train. Once again, to highlight to our viewers, one person has been killed, 9 injured, out of which 2 are serious, suffering critical injuries, and 7 others are said to have been to have suffered minor injuries. But as of now, things are very much under control, and for any information, if you call these helpline numbers, they will be able to tell you who was on board the train, who has been injured and who has not. We do not have the names of all those who have been injured. However, we will try to get that in as soon as possible. As of now, not too many people talking about the incident. The railway officials have come out and called for calm, stated quite clearly that enough security is present there, that they are looking into it. They've also gone ahead and already announced a compensation to all those injured, and as well as a compensation of 1 lakh rupees to the lone person who was killed, to the kin of to her family, in fact. And of course, it definitely looks like the railway officials are doing all they can to ensure that there is calm in the area. Also have a helpline number, have given out compensation, and I've also said quite clearly that everything is under control now in Chennai Central Railway Station. So it's only about investigations at this point and nothing else. Is there any sort of further threat to security? Is there any sort of threat of another bomb blast? Well, at this point, the officials are making it very clear that there's absolutely no such threat. They have managed to go ahead and ensure that the entire area is safe and secure, which is why they're also letting passengers into the Chennai Central. They're still ensuring that train services are not affected and that only this particular platform has been cordoned off, and they seem very confident that at this point they can pretty much handle everything in the Chennai Central Railway Station.
Akshita, thank you. In fact, we have some big news that is in fact coming in. 1 terror suspect nabbed. Now, these are sources that are telling us that there's been one terror suspect who's been nabbed. DIG from Hyderabad and senior officers from NIA HQ to lead the investigations. Well, this is the big news that's coming in. 1 terror suspect has been nabbed. Sources have been saying that to us, and now DIG from Hyderabad and senior officer from NIA headquarters will be in fact investigating these blasts.